And what have we got here? Apparently a former palace of another Polish noble, Siemieckie. Yeah, you know I was going to pronounce that wrong, didn't you? You just knew it. Siemieckie. Anyway. Handsome building. I don't know what its purpose is now. But yeah, it's in rack and ruin. There's no security guards screaming at me or pointing guns. But obviously an historical palace of some significance in its day. And you could just imagine it being a museum at some point. But it seems at the moment, don't know what's going on at that place. There's a very happy sounding man in the background with his pal. Let's see if we can cross the road. We can. Oh, that's nice. I don't know if you saw that detail just there, the two horses' heads. Just zooming in a little bit, we can see the two horses' heads over that arch gateway. That must be where very narrow wagons or people on horseback would enter the grounds. Right, an update. I think the last time we spoke was, yes, the little behind the scenes look in the mirror. Walkie-talkie traveller channel through the looking glass, basically. And my throat today is a bit better. I've checked out of the hostel and they've got this system of leaving your luggage after checkout time in a nice large secure locker, which is in turn inside a locked luggage room in the hostel. 40 hryvnia, or just over $1 for the day. I only need to use that service for probably about 6 hours. In that time, as the weather is kind at the moment, although it's been a bit on-off looking through the morning, I thought I would finally get round to visiting a cemetery I haven't seen in a very long time, Lviv. It means a nice walk through these, well, feels like 19th century streets. So charming walking through the streets, as far as the architecture's concerned at least, in Lviv. And getting away from the centre, the nice architecture just continues. It's not all just focused right there slap bang in the old town itself, which I'm grateful for. And I'm on a street called Piekarska, which I didn't pronounce as badly as I thought I might. And this one leads pretty much, it's almost in a straight line off the old town centre to the cemetery itself. So it's not easy to get lost, I have to say. But obviously do a little bit of background before you leave the hostel so you know in which direction you're supposed to be walking in the first place. Always helps, doesn't it? Crikey. There's a colossal building right here, which is very neoclassical. Something to do with the university, it seems. Here in the university grounds, not what I expected. I was expecting a heroic king, maybe even sat on horseback, like our friend Danilo. But it's not. It's more of a sort of symbolistic statue, man in loincloth holding a bowl, patting the mane of a horse. What's all that about? Is it a medical science, an animal science, medical science museum faculty? Straight across the road you can see some very nice detail. Let's just see if I can zoom in up there. I'm not sure how well focused this is. Everything's on automatic with my Samsung phone camera. That way, if it doesn't come out right, I can always blame the camera. Rather than saying, well, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing in the first place. No wonder it didn't come out looking half decent. Got a bit of an Art Deco feel to the figures, haven't they? Particularly that one sat down on the left, the guy. Sculptor Julian Sabko 2016. Oh, okay, so that's not the figure. That's we've got Julian to thank for this attractive human equine combination, and it sits right opposite that main classical column entrance to the university, but more directly opposite this. Obviously there were old socialist realist decorative images here. I'm just wondering whether up there in the central frame, that large chunk that's missing used to be an old Soviet star and it's had its day, or whether it just fell down naturally. Oh, hang on a minute, up there it says the words hominum animalium salute. So maybe it is something to do with animals then. Perhaps this is where you come. Oh, idiotic man. Okay, well there's the answer right over there. Lviv's National University for Veterinary Medicine. Big place just to train vets of the future, but then a lot of animals need a lot of human help. So I'm in favour of it. And isn't this nice? What a lovely figure. Well, figures. Lovely combination, and I'll just try and zoom in again. You can probably zoom in yourselves if you're watching the video on YouTube. I don't think I need to zoom in any closer because I only lose even more clarity if I do. Adjacent to the main buildings, just overlooking a little park area where there's a children's play area, and it seems some dogs free to be exercised as well, which I love to see. Very nice looking building with this. Well, I was going to call it an Orientalist portico with balcony, not knowing what that actually meant, but it sounded good in my head. And then I realised, oh, there's no door there. But did there used to be a door? I mean, looking at the level of the windows either side, they seem to be roughly the same. Is that window a later addition which isn't quite on the same level? Ooh, it's all getting very technical. I think I'll leave that one for the experts, but feel free to drop a comment down below if you know the answer to that. I like the look of it anyway. This looks an interesting place to come for your tea break or lunch. Straight over the road. It's not Baker Street. That's definitely Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? If you didn't feel like lunch with Sherlock, you can walk a dozen paces and, well, it's not the Queen, is it? It's not Marilyn Monroe. Lady with a corgi. She might enjoy your company over a croissant and coffee. I was getting a bit tired of the white bread sandwiches here in Ukraine in the supermarkets, the ones which come in the triangular plastic packets. Frankly, the problem is that the bread is so crumbly. You know, I'm used to white bread not being the best quality, but it's used to make the majority of sandwiches. But yeah, I just got tired of the crumbly, sort of cotton wool crumbly texture of the bread in those sandwiches, so I thought I'd treat myself from like a deli bar part of the supermarket to a chicken and salad and mozzarella cheese triangular bun sandwich thing. A little bit more expensive. It weighed in around 55 hryvnia. So $1.50 you could call it if you wanted to, but it's under $1.50 if you're an American. And what worked with this sandwich, and if you do the same, if you're in Lviv, you pop into Silpo and you buy the same sandwich. My advice is wait till you get back to the hostel, use the microwave, or you can actually ask the lady, if she doesn't invite you, for your sandwich to be heated up in the microwave behind the counter in the supermarket. And a minute in the microwave was perfect. It really transformed, here I am again, it really transformed the cheese in particular, and that mozzarella cheese melted, and the saltiness came out in that sandwich, and it was not overly salty. It was just really, it suddenly tasted very nicely seasoned. I'd had a quick bite of the sandwich cold, and I was thinking, meh. But after 1 minute in the microwave, that really did the trick, I'm telling you. That was a super filling lunch if you wanted it, or if you wanted a light supper because you'd had a big lunch or you just didn't have an appetite. It was just a lovely, it felt like a treat. Here's the approach to Lychakiv Cemetery. And along the way, Lvivsky Medicny Universitet. So this really is a street dominated by the university's medical services, facilities, training, however you want to describe it. Sure enough, Pekarska Street brings you up to this entrance, which, if you look on Street View on Google, you'll see some years ago was boarded up. You weren't allowed admission at this point. And sadly, I suspect that the reason behind this is they want to direct you towards this entrance point where they can extract that entrance fee of 50 hryvnia. But you know, I'm not going to bitch about the 50 hryvnia entrance. It seems weird to pay to go into a cemetery, in my head anyway, just on principle, but when it's 50 hryvnia, $1.50, less than that, then I'm not going to make any complaints. Just going to go in, hand over my 100 hryvnia, and get some change and make it work for me that way. Why not? And you might be able to see, if you're eagle-eyed, because I know I'm a little bit far away, there's plenty to see in this place.